Well, today's the day to get out and vote. The polls just opened at 6 o'clock this morning.
And there are several interesting races this year, but the one people will be watching closely in Indianapolis is the race for mayor. Let's go to Sunrise reporter Carrie Klein live with more on that race. Carrie, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Bruce and Julia. Well, you know, with so much talk recently about shootings, juvenile criminals, and gang violence dominating the headlines, crime certainly a major issue in this year's race for Indianapolis mayor. In fact, so important, both candidates called separate news conferences on Friday to specifically talk about their plan for public safety. Now, former U.S. Attorney Joe Hogsett said he'd hire more officers, return to community policing, and create a new police unit specifically to address domestic violence. While businessman Chuck Brewer said if elected, he'd hire 150 more officers, devote more money to fighting drug efforts, and press state lawmakers for stiffer sentences for gun crimes.
Violent gangs will not control our neighborhoods, and they will not instill fear in our families. I will not let that happen. I'm here today to convey the message that violent crime is getting worse on our streets, and we have a clear choice between two very distinct candidates.
Over these past few days, we have seen multiple tragic acts of violence, and if elected mayor, I will get up every single day and work with IMPD. That's why I've called for a top-to-bottom review of the entire Department of Public Safety, so that cost savings wherever they exist can be made.
And again, that's just one of the many issues that the candidates have been out talking about this election season. Now, you have plenty of time to get out and cast your vote. As we mentioned, polls just opened at 6 o'clock. They'll be open until 6 o'clock tonight for you to cast your vote, not only in this race, but the many other important mayors and municipal races throughout central Indiana. Now, Hogsett is expected to cast his vote here at his precinct on the city's north side any minute now. We also have a crew down on the south side where Chuck Brewer will be casting his vote shortly, and we hope to hear from both candidates on how they're feeling at the start of this big election day coming up in our next half hour on Sunrise. Bruce?
Yeah, some strong comments from each candidate. We'll see how the votes go in about 12 hours or so. Carrie, thanks very much.
And of course, several Indiana cities will get new mayors today after the incumbent either lost in the primary or even decided not to run. In Bloomington, Mayor Mark Kruzan is not running for a fourth term. That gives Democrat John Hamilton and Republican John Turnbull a shot in today's election. Hamilton is a former secretary of the Indiana Family and Social Services Administration. Turnbull works for the Bloomington City Department of Parks and Recreation.
Lebanon's current mayor, Huck Lewis, lost in the primary earlier this year to fellow Republican Matt Gentry. Gentry will be facing Democrat Michelle Thomas. Thomas has been on the Lebanon School Board, and independent Peter Corman is also on today's ballot. And we will have more on some of the candidates you'll see on the ballot today throughout the morning here on Sunrise. We'll also have full Election Day coverage on our website at WTHR.com. Check out our candidate guide. That's where you can find your polling place and research the races in your community. Just click on Decision 2015.